Something I want you to really reassure yourself on is that when we establish boundaries from a calm state, a grounded state, they are more likely to stick. And what I mean by that is if we are going into a heavy conversation with like yelling, crying, where it's like uncontrollable, they're less likely to stick. And that's why this week we're going to practice these conversations so that you can go into them grounded and actually come out of them with the result that you wanted and to feel good after, because there's nothing worse than having one of these conversations and feeling like you've made everything horribly wrong and you didn't get your point across and you regret not saying certain things and you feel like your boundaries are crossed yet again. So what I've got is a PDF that you can just download. But I will have a few examples in the next kind of few slides. But when we are going into these conversations, I want you to say it with a calm face, even if it's over the phone. Calm face, low tone, slow breath. Usually, when we're feeling heated and awkward and all the things, we tend to speak faster and louder. I want you to speak slower than usual. What you think is slow probably isn't. So think slower, speak slower. I want you to pause before responding. So if they come back at you with something that triggers you, take a breath, pause. Don't just react, don't just fight back. Be the grounded one. Drop into a lower, calmer vocal tone. It signals safety to your body. So you're not going to get all tense and shaky. And also don't over explain. Let the silence do the work. So when we go through the practices, I'll show you, but hold the silence. And if you're someone who likes to feel silence with talking, just try everything not to, because silence will do the work for you. It'll allow them to process what you've said and then respond accordingly. And then lastly, you're not responsible for their reaction. You're only responsible for yours and your regulation to ensure your reactions are from a grounded state. So what you'll see is I've divided the scripts into different kind of categories. So I've got everyday soft boundaries, and this is just for family, friends, colleagues, just basic things. So like something that could be like, do you want to go get coffee at 2 o'clock? Whatever it is. That doesn't work for me right now, but I appreciate you asking. So how we can say that in a more grounded way. That doesn't work for me right now, but I appreciate you asking. And even, if this is on a text message, that is actually just such a fine response. You don't need to be like, oh, that doesn't work for me right now because I've got so many things to do. I've got school pickup and blah, 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 blah. Just that doesn't work for me right now, but I appreciate you asking. What are you doing on Monday? Or if you don't want to hang out with them at all, that's fine too. Let me sit with that and get back to you. I want to be intentional. And this can work really well if you're quite busy and run off your feet. And I have experienced this so many times where, especially in my single motherhood journey, I was working so much. Like I was hustling and I feel so guilty not seeing people like my friends and catching up. But then at the same time, I felt like I couldn't be present if I was like rushing a coffee or a smoothie or whatever, a drink. So you can actually say like, let me sit with that and get back to you. I'm super busy this week and I want to be intentional with my time with you. It doesn't need to be hard or deep. For those who difficult or manipulative energy, when you establish a boundary with them and they bite back, I hear you and I'm still going to hold this boundary. And that can work, like I was saying before, with like mother-in-laws kind of situations, like, oh, well, why don't you let me have the kids? I hear you, but I'm still going to hold this boundary. You're allowed to feel how you feel, but I'm still going to do what's best for me. And that's okay. You don't owe anyone anything. Short, grounded, confident ones. This can work really well, you know, if someone, I don't know, is trying to get you to do a job or a task, something that you really don't want to do, don't have time, capacity for. I've thought about it and my answer is no. With your kids, this is what I've decided. It's final. And it's okay. With your ex or co-parenting, I'm here to communicate about our child, not to revisit the past. And this can often happen if they are holding on to the fact that you're not together anymore, that they don't have control over you, that you aren't giving them another chance. Let's pause and revisit this later. I'm not in a headspace to respond right now. And that's so fine. It is so fine. If they're wanting to communicate to you about school holidays or homework or going on a holiday or you needing to have the kids on their weekend, like whatever it is, it's actually okay to not rush into a response and to just say, let's pause and revisit this later. I'm not in a space to respond right now. See how it's like calm and empowering? Now, what I want you to do is to go into the PDF that I've uploaded and look through and like highlight, or like if you haven't printed it, just select it, copy it into your notes. And I want you to start practicing saying these things, or think of where you have been craving to establish some boundaries. So whether it's with your ex or your family or friends or whatever it is, your children, and actually just start noting down moments and things to say, to think of you and your boundaries and not them and their feelings.